Hello aspirants, welcome back to Vara IAS. We were studying Indian polity. In Indian polity, we had started with fundamental rights and we covered the classification of fundamental rights. So, the first fundamental right we studied is right to equality and we studied Article 14 and 15. Now, let's start with Article 16. Article 16 says there shall be no discrimination in public employment on grounds of race, religion, caste, sex, place of birth, residence, descent. So here there shall be no discrimination in public employment. But still we see reservations, right? That means there are certain exceptions to Article 16. At present there are 4 exceptions to Article 16. That is reservations with respect to SC, ST and other backward classes, and there are reservations to economically weaker sections, there are reservations in religious institutions, and even Parliament can prescribe residence as a ground for reservations in state, center or in any other authorities. So these are the 4 exceptions and we shall study these exceptions in detail. So the first exception is Parliament can prescribe residence as a ground for reservation in respect to the public employment. So here it says Parliament can prescribe. This is very important. That is only authority which can prescribe residence as a ground for reservation is Parliament. So at present only 2 states, that is Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, has got residence as a ground for reservation. So the next exception to Article 16 is, that is for SC, ST and OBC there are reservations in public employment. So altogether the reservation limit for this is 50% and Supreme Court has set this ceiling, that is 50%. For OBC the reservation is 27% and we shall study the background for this reservation. So Mandal Commission was appointed to look into the status of OBCs. This commission identified 52% of population as OBC and it recommended for 27% reservation for OBC. And this recommendation of Mandal Commission was implemented by VP Singh government. Later what happened was, in PV Narasimha Rao government, it wanted to bring 2 changes. The first change is, it wanted to categorize the OBCs as creamy and non-creamy layer. That is, it wanted to bring economic criteria to OBCs. So, the next suggestion that PV Narasimha government gave was, that is to give 10% reservations to the economically weaker sections also. That is, economic criteria was brought for the OCs as well. So, this thing went to Supreme Court. The famous Supreme Court case, in Indra Sahaney case, what happened was, the court said that, yes, the categorizations of OBCs as creamy and non-creamy layer is valid, but it said that the categorization with respect to the OCs, that is giving 10% reservations to the economically weaker sections, it was invalid. So only the first thing, that is categorization of OBC into creamy and non-creamy layer, came into existence. So, and to look into the disputes of this, what happened was, it recommended to establish a committee and the committee was formed. That committee is National Commission on Backward Classes. So there was a law that was passed and this commission was formed, and this commission is a statutory body, because statutory body is, it is called a statutory body because it is backed by a statute, that is law. Later what happened was, the National Commission of Backward Classes, through the 102nd Constitutional Amendment Act of 2018, it became a constitutional body. That is, means the provisions for this National Commission of Backward Classes is seen in Constitution itself. So at present, National Commission for Backward Classes is a constitutional body. So the next exception that we studied for Article 16 is with respect to the religious institutions. Yes, the particular religion can give all its posts with respect to its institution to that religion itself. So 100% of its posts can be filled by the people of its religion itself. So that is the third exception to Article 16. So next we have is the recent exception made through the 103rd Constitutional Amendment Act of 2019, which says that there shall be 10% reservations to economically weaker sections in public employment, and this is mandatory with respect to state. And for center, for state it's it is the discretion of the states whether to implement it or not. So at present, it is mandatory on center to give 10% reservation to the economically weaker sections. So next concept we must study is about the backlog post. Backlog post, that is, if there is any vacancies with respect to the previous year, then the carry forward rule applies. That is, you can carry forward these vacancies to the next year as well. But earlier there was a limit of 50%. That is, it shouldn't exceed, even the backlog post shouldn't exceed 50%. That was the limit. But now, even if it is exceeding 50%, it is valid. That is, it is simple. That is, backlog post you can carry forward, and this backlog post, even if it is exceeding 50% limit, it is still valid. So the next thing we must know is reservation with respect to the promotions. Yes, there is reservations with respect to appointments as well as promotions. With respect to appointments, we had already seen there is reservation for SC, ST and OBC, whereas the reservation in promotions is only for SC and ST on a condition that it has got inadequate representation, and the inadequate representation term is not exactly defined. So this is about Article 16. In the later video lectures, we will study about Article 17 and 18, which forms the part of right to equality. For more video lectures, keep watching Vyara IAS and please subscribe, share Vyara IAS. Thank you.